Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to Sage Advice. Before we begin, I want to pause for a moment and ask you something very simple but very important. How are you really feeling today? Not just physically, but deep inside. Do you wake up feeling refreshed? Or do you wake up already tired even before your day begins? And I'd truly love to hear from you. Where are you watching from today? Is it the United States, Canada, Australia, England, the Philippines, or somewhere else? And if you're comfortable, tell me your age as well. Because here on this channel, we don't just talk. We connect, we understand, and we grow together. My dear friends, over the years, I have received thousands of messages from people just like you. People in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. And one message keeps coming again and again. I feel tired all the time, and I don't know why. Some say, I didn't even do much today, but I feel exhausted. I slept the whole night, but I still feel weak. I used to have energy. What happened to me? And maybe, just maybe, you have asked yourself the same questions. Let me tell you something very honestly. Feeling tired is one of the most misunderstood problems in old age. Most people will tell you, oh, it's just age. You're getting older. This is normal. But I don't fully agree with that. And today, I want to share something from my heart. In my opinion, constant tiredness is not always about age. It's about what's happening silently inside your body, your habits, and your emotions. Let me explain this in a simple way. Think about your body like a home. If the lights are dim, if the rooms feel heavy, if nothing feels fresh anymore, would you just say, well, the house is old, that's why? No. You would check. Is there enough power? Are the windows open? Is something blocking the light? In the same way, when your body feels tired, it is not just aging. It is a message, a quiet message that something needs attention. And my dear friends, one of the biggest mistakes I see seniors make is this. They ignore the message. They say, I'll just rest more. I'll just sleep more. I'll slow down even more. But here's the surprising truth. Sometimes resting more actually makes you more tired. Yes, I've seen this again and again because tiredness is not always caused by doing too much. It is often caused by doing the wrong things or missing the right ones. Let me share a small story with you. There was a man named Robert. He was 68 years old. He used to be active, strong, always busy. But after retirement, he started feeling tired almost every day. So what did he do? He rested more. He stopped going out. He stopped walking. He spent more time sitting, watching TV. He thought, this is what my body needs. But slowly, his energy dropped even more. His body became weaker. His mood became low, and his tiredness became constant. One day, he said something that stayed with me. I thought I was protecting my energy, but I was actually losing it. My dear friends, this is why today's conversation is so important. Because if you understand why you feel tired, you can begin to take back control of your energy, your health, and your life. And let me be very clear with you today. I'm not going to give you complicated advice or medical terms that confuse you. No, I'm going to talk to you like family. Simple, honest, real advice based on what I've seen, what I've learned, and what I truly believe helps. In this video, I will share 6 powerful reasons why seniors feel tired all the time. But these are not just reasons. These are hidden truths, things that many people overlook. But they quietly drain your energy every single day. Some of them might surprise you. Some might make you think, yes, this is exactly what I'm going through. And that's okay because awareness is the first step toward change. Now, before we move forward, I want to ask you something again, very gently. When was the last time you truly felt energetic? Not just okay, but truly alive, light, and strong. Was it last year, 5 years ago, or do you feel like it's been a long time? My dear friends, no matter your age, your life is not over. Your energy is not gone forever. Sometimes it's just hidden, blocked, or neglected. And once you understand what's draining you, you can begin to rebuild it step by step. So today, as you listen to this video, don't just listen casually. Listen with awareness. Listen with honesty. Because this is not just information. This is about your life, your body, your future. And if you feel that this message speaks to you, if you feel that you are not alone in this journey, then please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Sage Advice, and become part of this growing family. Because here, we don't ignore aging. We understand it, and we face it with wisdom. All right, my dear friends, take a deep breath, relax your mind. And now let's begin with the first reason. Why you may be feeling tired all the time. Reason 1. You're not really resting, even when you sleep. Let me tell you a story, my dear friends. A few years ago, I received a message from a woman named Eleanor. She was 74 years old, living alone after losing her husband. And her message was very short, but very heavy. She wrote, "I sleep all night, but I wake up tired of life." That sentence stayed in my heart for a long time because I realized she was not just talking about sleep. She was talking about exhaustion, the kind that slowly builds inside a person over the years. And maybe some of you understand exactly what I mean. Eleanor told me about her daily routine. Every night, she went to bed around 10 p.m. The television stayed on in the background. Sometimes she fell asleep in the chair first, then slowly walked to bed. But during the night, she kept waking up. Sometimes at 1 a.m., sometimes 3 a.m., sometimes just staring into the darkness, thinking about her children, her late husband, her regrets, her fears about the future. And in the morning, she did not wake up refreshed. She woke up emotionally heavy. My dear friends, this is something many seniors experience, but very few people talk about honestly. There is a difference between sleeping and truly resting. You can close your eyes for 8 hours, but if your mind never relaxes, your body never fully heals. And in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons seniors feel tired all the time is because their sleep becomes emotionally crowded. Yes, emotionally crowded. Your body is in bed, but your mind is carrying years of memories, stress, loneliness, responsibilities, pain, and that emotional weight follows you into the night. I want you to think about this carefully. When we were younger, many of us slept deeply because life felt simpler. But after 60, 70, even 80, sleep changes. Sometimes the house becomes quieter, but the mind becomes louder. And suddenly nighttime becomes a place where thoughts grow stronger. Eleanor once told me something heartbreaking. She said, "The quiet at night feels heavier now." And maybe some of you understand that feeling too, because silence can become very loud when the heart feels lonely. But, my dear friends, I also want to tell you something hopeful. Rest is not only physical. Rest is emotional too. And sometimes the body is not asking for more sleep. It is asking for more peace. Now let me share something I personally believe helps many seniors. Before bed, stop feeding your mind stress. Don't watch upsetting news late at night. Don't sit alone replaying painful memories. Don't carry tomorrow's worries into bed. Instead, create calmness around your sleep. Maybe soft music, prayer, reading something peaceful, warm tea, quiet breathing, turning off the television. Simple things, but powerful things. Because your nervous system needs permission to relax. And let me say something else very honestly. Many seniors think exhaustion means weakness, but I don't believe that. Sometimes exhaustion means you've carried too much emotionally, worried too much silently, stayed strong for too long, and eventually the body begins to speak. I remember another man named Walter. He was 81 years old. He said to me, "I'm tired all the time, but I don't know why. I barely leave the house." But after talking longer, the truth slowly appeared. Walter spent most nights awake worrying about his health. Every small pain frightened him. Every doctor appointment stayed in his mind. And even though his body was resting, his mind was fighting all night long. My dear friends, fear is exhausting. Loneliness is exhausting. Overthinking is exhausting. And these things often become stronger at night. That is why real rest is not only about mattresses and pillows. It is about emotional comfort. Now, please listen carefully to this part. If you constantly wake up tired, don't just ask, "How many hours did I sleep?" Ask yourself, "Did my mind feel safe enough to truly rest?" Because sometimes the answer changes everything. And in my opinion, one of the kindest things seniors can do for themselves is this. Stop treating sleep like a battle. Don't become angry at yourself for waking up. Don't panic if sleep is imperfect. The more frustration you create around sleep, the more stress your body carries. Instead, treat nighttime gently. Treat yourself gently. My dear friends, you have survived many difficult years. You have carried families, responsibilities, heartbreaks, sacrifices, and sometimes tiredness is simply the body asking for kindness. Not punishment, not shame, not fear, just kindness. So tonight, before you sleep, I want you to remember something very important. Your body deserves peace. Your mind deserves rest. And your heart deserves gentleness, too. Because real healing begins when both the body and the soul finally feel safe enough to rest. And now, my dear friends, let's move gently into the second reason seniors often feel tired all the time. Reason 2. Your body is starving for energy even if you eat every day. My dear friends, let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever eaten a meal and still felt weak afterward? Not satisfied, not energized, just tired, heavy, and empty? If so, you are not alone. And in my opinion, one of the biggest hidden reasons seniors feel tired all the time is this. The body is no longer getting the nutrition it truly needs. Now, I know what some people may say, but I eat every day. Yes, but eating and nourishing are not always the same thing because, as we age, something quietly changes. Appetite changes, taste changes, energy for cooking changes, and for many seniors, food slowly becomes smaller, simpler, and less nutritious. Let me tell you about a man named Harold. Harold was 79 years old, and after his wife passed away, everything changed. His wife used to cook beautiful meals. Nothing fancy, but warm, balanced, comforting. But after she was gone, Harold stopped caring about food. Most mornings, just coffee, maybe a piece of toast. Lunch, sometimes skipped. Dinner, a frozen meal or biscuits with tea. And slowly, his body became weaker and weaker. Not because of age alone, but because his body had stopped receiving real fuel. My dear friends, the body after 60 is very different from the body at 30. When we were younger, we could skip meals, eat junk food, sleep badly, and still function. But after 60, the body becomes less forgiving, and every missing nutrient matters more. Now, listen carefully to this. Many seniors are actually dehydrated, undernourished, and low in protein without realizing it. And the symptoms often appear as tiredness, weakness, dizziness, brain fog, and low motivation. But instead of asking, what is my body missing? Many people simply say, I'm getting old. And honestly, that breaks my heart a little because sometimes the body is not failing. It is begging for support. I remember talking to a woman named Linda. She said, I don't understand why. I have no energy. But after speaking with her, I realized she barely drank water. She told me I'm never thirsty. My dear friends, as we age, the feeling of thirst becomes weaker. That means many seniors walk around dehydrated without even knowing it. And dehydration can make you feel exhausted, sleepy, weak, mentally foggy. Sometimes people think they need more sleep when their body simply needs water. And let me say something very important. Protein matters deeply after 60 because every year, the body naturally loses muscle. And when muscle disappears, energy disappears too. That is why many seniors begin feeling tired after simple activities. Walking becomes harder. Standing feels heavier. Even carrying groceries feels exhausting. In my opinion, many older adults are not lazy. They are underfueled. Their body simply does not have enough strength-producing nutrition anymore. Now, I know cooking every day is not easy, especially if you live alone. You lost a partner. You feel unmotivated, or you're simply tired of preparing meals. I understand that deeply. But my dear friends, your body still deserves care. Even simple meals can help. Eggs, soup, yogurt, beans, fruit, oatmeal, fish, nuts. You don't need perfection. You need consistency. And please remember this. Some seniors eat less because they don't want to gain weight. But after a certain age, weakness becomes more dangerous than a few extra pounds. Strength matters. Muscle matters. Nutrition matters. I once heard an older man say something very powerful. He said, at my age, food is no longer entertainment. It's medicine. And honestly, there is wisdom in that because every healthy meal becomes an investment in your energy, your mobility, your independence. Now, let's talk emotionally for a moment. Sometimes tiredness is connected to loneliness around food. Meals feel different when the house is quiet. The chair across the table is empty. No one says, how was your day? And because of that, many seniors stop enjoying meals entirely. But my dear friends, please don't stop caring for yourself just because life changed. You are still worthy of nourishment. You are still worthy of care. And in my opinion, one of the most loving things seniors can do is this. Treat eating as self-respect, not a chore, not a burden, but a daily act of kindness toward your future self. So if you constantly feel tired, ask yourself honestly, am I truly feeding my body? Or am I only filling my stomach? Because those are not the same thing. My dear friends, energy does not magically appear. The body creates it from what you give it. And if you give it too little nutrition, too little water, too little protein, then slowly tiredness becomes your everyday life. Not perfectly, but consistently. They walk outside, stretch in the morning, garden, clean their home, stay active in small ways. And those small movements become powerful medicine. But sadly, many people fall into what I call the tiredness trap. Here's how it works. You feel tired, so you move less. Then, because you move less, your body becomes weaker. And because your body becomes weaker, you feel even more tired. It becomes a cycle, a silent cycle. And many seniors don't realize they are trapped inside it. I remember speaking to a woman named Gloria. She was 82 years old. Every morning, no matter how she felt, she walked slowly to her mailbox. Not far, not fast, but every single day. And she once told me, if I stop moving, I start feeling old. That sentence stayed with me because there is wisdom in it. My dear friends, movement is not just physical. Movement tells the brain, I am still alive. I still have purpose. And when you stop moving completely, the body and mind both begin slowing down together. Now, I know something many people don't say openly. Sometimes seniors stop moving because of fear. Fear of falling, pain, injury, embarrassment, weakness. And I understand that deeply. But in my opinion, gentle movement is safer than complete stillness. Because stillness creates more weakness over time. Even emotional pain can make movement disappear. After losing a spouse, after loneliness, after depression, some people slowly withdraw from life itself. The curtains stay closed. The walks stop. The body becomes inactive. And sadly, tiredness grows heavier and heavier. But, my dear friends, I want you to hear this with hope. Your body responds amazingly to small effort. Even simple things matter. Standing more often, stretching your arms, walking slowly inside the house, sitting less during the day, getting sunlight. You do not need perfection. You simply need momentum. And let me share something I truly believe. Energy is created through action. Sometimes you do not wait to feel energetic before moving. Sometimes movement itself creates the energy. That may sound surprising, but many seniors discover this after a short walk. They begin tired, but afterward they feel lighter, clearer, more awake because circulation improves. Breathing improves, mood improves. The body says, thank you for using me again. Now please listen carefully to this part. After a certain age, independence depends on movement. Not speed, not strength competitions, just movement. Because the ability to stand up, walk safely, carry things, stay balanced. These are the things that protect freedom later in life. And in my opinion, one of the saddest things is when seniors unknowingly surrender their strength too early. Not because aging forced them, but because inactivity slowly stole it away. So, my dear friends, if you feel tired all the time, ask yourself honestly, when was the last time I truly moved my body? Not to punish yourself, not to judge yourself, but simply to become aware, because awareness creates change. And remember this, you do not have to move perfectly. You do not have to move quickly. You simply have to keep moving forward, little by little. Because every small step matters, every stretch matters, every walk matters. And every movement is your body's way of saying, I am still here, and I still want to live. And now, my dear friends, let's gently move into the fourth reason seniors often feel tired all the time. Reason 4. Your heart and mind are exhausted, not just your body. My dear friends, this next reason is one that many people never talk about openly, because you cannot always see it. There are no bandages, no visible wounds, no casts or scars. And yet it can drain a person more than physical labor ever could. I'm talking about emotional exhaustion. Let me ask you something honestly. Have you ever felt tired even after resting? Not sleepy, not physically weak, just emotionally heavy, like your spirit itself feels exhausted? If you understand that feeling, then you already know what I'm about to say. In my opinion, one of the deepest reasons seniors feel tired all the time is because they are carrying emotional weight silently. Weight from loneliness, grief, disappointment, stress, worry, and regret. And the heartbreaking part is this. Many older adults carry these feelings quietly. They smile in front of others. They say, I'm fine. But inside, they are emotionally worn out. Let me tell you about a woman named Carol. Carol was 73 years old. Every morning, she woke up tired. Not because she worked hard, but because her heart never truly rested. Her children were busy with their own lives. Her husband had passed away years earlier, and every evening she sat alone in a quiet house. The television played in the background, not because she was watching, but because silence felt too painful. One day she said something that touched me deeply. She said, "I'm not tired from doing too much. I'm tired from feeling alone." My dear friends, that sentence explains what so many seniors experience because loneliness is exhausting. Not just emotionally, but physically too. Scientists may explain it with stress hormones and mental health. But honestly, you don't need science to understand human pain. When the heart feels heavy, the body feels heavier too. And here's something I personally believe. As people age, their emotional burdens often become deeper, not smaller. Because older adults carry memories of loss, worries about health, fear of dependence, concerns about money, sadness about changing relationships. And many carry all of it quietly without wanting to burden anyone else. I remember speaking with a man named Daniel. He was 80 years old, and every time someone asked how he was doing, he smiled and said, "I'm okay." But the truth was, he had not felt okay in years. After his wife passed away, he stopped talking much, stopped socializing, stopped laughing the same way, and slowly tiredness became part of his identity. Not because his body was broken, but because his heart was hurting. My dear friends, emotional pain can drain energy in ways people do not understand. It affects sleep, appetite, motivation, concentration, even physical strength. And over time, the body begins carrying emotional sorrow like extra weight. Now let me say something very important. Feeling emotionally tired does not mean you are weak. In fact, sometimes it means you have been strong for too long. Strong through loss, sacrifice, caregiving, heartbreak, and years of responsibility. And eventually, even strong hearts become tired. But my dear friends, I also want to share hope with you because emotional exhaustion is real. But healing is possible too. Not overnight, not magically, but slowly, gently, one step at a time. In my opinion, one of the worst things seniors can do is isolate themselves completely because isolation feeds emotional fatigue. The longer a person stays emotionally disconnected, the heavier life begins to feel. That's why connection matters so much. Even small connection, a phone call, a conversation with a neighbor, a church visit, a morning walk where you greet someone. Small moments, but powerful medicine for the soul. And please remember this. You do not always need to fix your sadness immediately. Sometimes healing begins simply by admitting, "Yes, I've been carrying a lot." That honesty alone can bring relief. I also believe seniors need purpose because when purpose disappears, energy often disappears too. The human heart needs something to wake up for. Maybe caring for a pet, helping grandchildren, gardening, volunteering, learning something new, or sharing wisdom. Purpose creates emotional energy. It reminds the spirit, "I still matter." I once heard an older woman say something beautiful. She said, "The days I help someone are the days I feel most alive." And honestly, I believe there is deep truth in that because emotional energy grows when life still feels meaningful. Now, my dear friends, if you constantly feel tired, please don't only ask, "What is wrong with my body?" Also ask, "What is weighing on my heart?" Because sometimes the greatest exhaustion is invisible. And before we move on, I want to tell you something very gently. If you have been feeling emotionally tired lately, please be kind to yourself. You are not a machine. You are a human being who has lived through decades of life. Decades of love, sacrifice, disappointments, responsibilities, survival. And carrying all of that takes energy. So tonight, take a moment for yourself. Breathe slowly, sit peacefully, and remind yourself, I deserve care, too. Because, my dear friends, a tired heart also needs rest. And healing begins the moment we stop pretending we are not hurting. And now, my dear friends, let's continue to the fifth reason seniors often feel tired all the time. Reason 5. Your medications may be draining your energy without you realizing it. My dear friends, this next reason is something many seniors never expect because the very thing meant to help them may also be quietly exhausting them. I'm talking about medications. Now, please listen carefully to me. I am not telling anyone to stop taking medicine. Never do that without speaking to your doctor. But in my opinion, many seniors live with constant fatigue because they don't realize how certain medications affect the body over time. Let me tell you about a man named Frank. Frank was 77 years old, a good man, quiet, responsible. Every morning, he took blood pressure medicine, cholesterol medicine, pain medicine, and sleep medicine. And over the years, the number of pills slowly increased. One for blood pressure, another for sleep, another for pain, another to manage the side effects of another pill. And eventually, Frank began feeling exhausted almost every day. Not sleepy for a moment, deeply tired all the time. At first, he blamed aging. Then he blamed retirement. Then he blamed himself. He kept saying, "Maybe I'm just getting weak." But one day, his doctor reviewed all his medications carefully, and something surprising happened. A few adjustments were made. Some doses changed. One medication was removed, and slowly Frank's energy started returning. Not perfectly, but noticeably. For the first time in years, he felt clearer, lighter, more awake. My dear friends, this happens more often than people realize. Because many medications can cause fatigue, dizziness, weakness, brain fog, low motivation, and sleepiness, especially when several medicines are combined together. And as we age, the body processes medicine differently. The liver changes, the kidneys slow down, and the body becomes more sensitive. That means the same medication that once felt fine at age 50 may affect you very differently at 75. I think many seniors quietly accept side effects because they assume this is just old age. But sometimes it is not aging alone. It is chemistry. I remember speaking with a woman named Teresa. She said, "I don't even feel like myself anymore." She described feeling sleepy during the day, mentally foggy, emotionally flat. And honestly, she thought she was developing dementia. But after a medical review, the problem turned out to be a medication interaction. Not her mind, not her intelligence, just the way certain medicines were affecting her nervous system. My dear friends, this is why awareness matters so much. Because when you don't know the cause, you begin blaming yourself. And that can create fear, sadness, and hopelessness. Now, let me say something very important. Sometimes seniors take sleeping pills because they feel tired. But ironically, some sleep medications can create grogginess the next day. So the cycle continues. You feel tired, so you take something to sleep. Then the medicine makes you feel sleepy during the day, and your energy never truly returns. Pain medications can also affect energy, especially if taken regularly over long periods. Some can slow the nervous system. Others may reduce alertness and physical strength. And again, many people never connect the dots. In my opinion, one of the smartest things seniors can do is this: review medications regularly with a trusted doctor or pharmacist. Not because medicine is bad, but because bodies change over time. And sometimes small adjustments create huge improvements in quality of life. Now, emotionally, I know many seniors feel overwhelmed by medications. The bottles, the schedules, the reminders. Sometimes it feels like life becomes controlled by pills. Morning pills, afternoon pills, night pills. And emotionally, that alone can feel exhausting. I once heard an older woman say, "I don't even feel human anymore. I feel like a prescription schedule." That sentence stayed with me because behind those words was sadness, a feeling that life had become medicalized. But, my dear friends, please hear me carefully. Needing medication does not make you weak. It simply means your body needs support. There is no shame in that. The goal is not to fear medicine, but to understand it wisely. And I also believe seniors should pay attention to changes. If your tiredness suddenly became worse, you started a new medication recently, you feel unusually sleepy or foggy, don't ignore it. Speak up. Ask questions because your voice matters in your healthcare, too. Sometimes older adults stay silent because they don't want to complain. But, my dear friends, explaining symptoms is not complaining. It is protecting your health. And please remember this: your body is constantly communicating with you. Fatigue is communication. Weakness is communication. Brain fog is communication. The body whispers before it screams. So if you constantly feel drained, don't only ask, "Am I getting older?" Also ask, "Could something I'm taking be affecting my energy?" Because sometimes the answer is hidden in plain sight. And in my opinion, the most powerful seniors are not the ones who ignore their health, but the ones who stay curious about it, who ask questions, who stay aware, who participate in their own healing journey. My dear friends, you deserve more than simply getting through the day. You deserve clarity, strength, comfort, and moments where you truly feel awake and alive again. And now, my dear friends, Let's move into the sixth and final reason seniors often feel tired all the time. Reason 6. Your body may be warning you about a hidden health problem. My dear friends, this final reason is perhaps the most important one of all. Because sometimes tiredness is not just tiredness. Sometimes it is a warning, a quiet signal from the body saying, please pay attention to me. And in my opinion, one of the biggest mistakes many seniors make is ignoring constant fatigue for too long. Not because they are careless, but because they assume this is normal at my age. Let me tell you about a man named Joseph. Joseph was 71 years old. For nearly a year, he felt tired almost every day. Not dramatic exhaustion, just constant fatigue. He stopped enjoying walks, stopped visiting friends, stopped doing the little things he once loved. But whenever someone asked him about it, he always said, I'm just getting older. Then one morning, Joseph became dizzy while standing up. His daughter convinced him to see a doctor, and after tests, they discovered something surprising. Severe anemia. His body was dangerously low in iron. That constant tiredness, it was not just aging. It was his body crying for help. My dear friends, this is why we must listen carefully to our bodies because the body often whispers before it screams. And fatigue is one of the most common whispers. Now, please hear me clearly. I am not saying every tired senior has a serious illness. Not at all. But I am saying this. Persistent exhaustion should never be ignored completely because many health conditions begin with simple tiredness. Conditions like diabetes, thyroid problems, anemia, sleep apnea, heart disease, vitamin deficiencies, and depression. And many of these problems develop slowly, quietly, silently. I remember speaking with a woman named Maria. Maria was 76 years old. For months, she thought she was simply slowing down. She slept more, sat more, and lost interest in activities. But eventually, her doctor discovered uncontrolled diabetes. And after treatment, her energy improved dramatically. She once told me, I thought I was losing myself, but my body just needed help. My dear friends, that sentence carries so much truth. Sometimes people lose hope too early when what they truly need is attention, treatment, and care. And in my opinion, one of the wisest things seniors can do is stop normalizing severe exhaustion. There is a difference between natural aging and unhealthy suffering. Aging may slow the body somewhat, but constant overwhelming fatigue is not something you should automatically accept. Now, let's talk honestly for a moment. I know many seniors avoid doctors because they fear bad news. They worry about costs. They don't want to feel like a burden, or they simply feel tired of medical appointments. And I understand that deeply. But, my dear friends, avoiding the truth never protects health. Sometimes early action changes everything. I once heard a doctor say something very wise. He said, the sooner we listen to the body, the less the body has to suffer to get our attention. And honestly, I believe that completely. Now, here's something else very important. Many hidden health problems affect sleep itself. For example, sleep apnea can stop breathing during the night. Heart problems reduce oxygen flow. Thyroid imbalance affects metabolism. Vitamin deficiencies weaken muscles and energy production. And slowly, tiredness becomes constant. Not because the person is lazy, not because they lack discipline, but because the body is struggling internally. And sadly, many seniors blame themselves. They say, I'm becoming weak. But, my dear friends, sometimes weakness is not failure. Sometimes it is information that your body needs support. In my opinion, one of the most powerful forms of self-respect after 60 is this: taking your symptoms seriously, not fearfully, not obsessively, but responsibly because your life still matters deeply. Your comfort matters. Your future matters. Your energy matters. Now, let me say something emotional from my heart. Many older adults spent their whole lives taking care of everyone else. Children, spouses, parents, work, responsibilities. And because of that, they often ignore themselves, even when the body is begging for attention. But, my dear friends, please remember this. You are worthy of care, too. Not only when things become severe, not only when it's an emergency, but now, right now. If your body has been feeling constantly exhausted, please don't silence that message immediately. Listen to it, respect it, and if needed, seek help without shame. Because asking for help is not weakness. It is wisdom. I truly believe this. The goal of aging is not simply to survive longer. It is to live with dignity, clarity, and as much energy as possible. And sometimes one small checkup, one conversation, one early diagnosis can completely change the quality of someone's life. So, my dear friends, if you remember only one thing from today's video, remember this. Constant tiredness is not something you should automatically surrender to. Your body may be trying to protect you, guide you, or warn you. And listening to that message may be one of the most important things you ever do for yourself. And now, my dear friends, before we finish this video, I want to leave you with one final message from the heart. In today's emotional outro, my dear friends, if you stayed with me until this moment, first of all, thank you. Because today's conversation was not only about tiredness, it was about something much deeper. It was about listening to yourself again. You know, one of the saddest things that happens to many seniors is this. Little by little, they stop talking about how they truly feel. Not because the pain disappears, but because they think nobody wants to hear it anymore. So, they quietly say, "I'm okay. I'm just tired. It's probably just age." While inside, they feel exhausted physically, emotionally, and spiritually. But, my dear friends, I want you to hear me very clearly tonight. Your exhaustion matters. Your health matters. And you still matter. No matter your age, no matter how many gray hairs you have, no matter how slowly life moves now, your life still carries value, wisdom, and purpose. And in my opinion, sometimes seniors become tired not only because of aging, but because they have spent decades carrying the weight of life. You carried responsibilities, sacrifices, heartbreaks, worries, disappointments, losses nobody fully understood. And somehow, you kept going. You stayed strong for children, strong for family, strong for everyone else. But, my dear friends, even strong people become tired. And there is no shame in that. I think many older adults secretly blame themselves for feeling weak. But please don't do that, because your body is not your enemy. It is communicating with you. Sometimes it is asking for better rest, better nutrition, movement, emotional healing, medical attention, or simply kindness. And honestly, many seniors have not been kind to themselves for a very long time. So tonight, I want you to do something simple. Stop criticizing yourself for being tired. Instead, ask yourself gently, what is my body trying to tell me? That question alone can begin changing your life. My dear friends, please remember this. Aging is not the end of life. Yes, the body changes. Yes, energy changes. But there is still beauty ahead. There are still peaceful mornings waiting for you. Still laughter waiting for you. Still meaningful moments waiting for you. Your story is not over. And I truly believe something very important. Small changes can create big healing. A little more movement, a little more water, a little more sunlight, a little more connection, a little more care for your health. These small acts may seem simple, but over time, they become powerful. I once heard an 84-year-old woman say something beautiful. She said, "I stopped waiting to feel young again and started learning how to feel alive again." And honestly, that may be one of the wisest things I've ever heard. Because life after 60, 70, even 80 is not about chasing youth. It's about protecting your peace, your strength, and your joy. So, if you've been feeling tired lately, please don't lose hope. Sometimes the body improves slowly. Sometimes healing takes time, but awareness is the beginning. And today, you took that first step. And before we say goodbye, I want you to do something for me. Go into the comments and tell me honestly what makes you feel most tired these days. Maybe it's poor sleep, maybe loneliness, maybe stress, maybe health problems. Whatever it is, you are not alone. And I promise you, there are many people in this community who understand exactly how you feel. Because here at Sage Advice, we are more than a YouTube channel. We are a family that grows older together with wisdom, compassion, and honesty. And if this video helped you even a little, please support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and sharing it with another senior who may need encouragement today. Because one small message can sometimes bring comfort to someone carrying silent pain. Take care of yourself, my dear friends. Protect your peace, protect your health, and most importantly, be gentle with yourself. I'm sending you my respect, my prayers, and my warmest wishes. And I'll see you again very soon, right here on Sage Advice.